What if we could actually peek into a dinosaur's last meal? Millions of years ago. Uncover some astonishing secrets about how these ancient giants really lived. Well, today, we're doing just that. Taking a deep dive, basically a shortcut to getting you properly informed about the diet of some of the largest land animals ever, the sauropods. For decades, really, our understanding of what these colossal herbivores ate, it's been based almost entirely on indirect evidence. Educated guesses, essentially.
Exactly. And that's what makes this new discovery so incredibly groundbreaking. It's, for the very first time, paleontologists have found direct empirical evidence, actual sauropod gut content. So this isn't just inference anymore. It's an unprecedented, direct look at their diet, their feeding habits.
So how did one fossil manage to just, well, revolutionize our understanding of creatures that dominated the Earth for millions of years? Our mission today is to unpack this fascinating story of Judy, a Dimantinosaurus matildae. We want to look at what her fossilized last meal reveals about how these giants lived, how they ate, and what that means for their incredible success.
Okay, so before Judy came along, what was our best guess? We assumed vegetarian, obviously, given the size and everything, but why was it just a guess?
Well, we relied heavily on their morphology, things like skull and jaw structures, the sheer size suggesting plant eating. But it was all inference, like you said. We never had that direct smoking gun, no actual stomach contents. It was a very well-informed hypothesis, but still fundamentally a hypothesis.
Right, until Judy, this magnificent specimen of Dimantinosaurus matildae, affectionately nicknamed Judy. Tell us a bit about her. Okay, so Judy comes from the mid-Cretaceous period. We're talking roughly 101 to maybe 94 million years ago, unearthed in Queensland, Australia. So this particular sauropod, she gives us a window into a really, really ancient ecosystem.
And what a find she was, discovered near Winton back in May 2017, and the preservation, it's just remarkable, isn't it? Even though scavengers had disturbed her, shortly after death, large parts were still intact. They even found sections of her mineralized skin. And Judy herself, she was around 11 meters long, that's like 36 feet, with a 4-meter neck and a 3.3-meter tail. And get this, she likely wasn't even fully grown.
That's right. And what's truly extraordinary, the real kicker, is what the team found inside her abdominal region, right there, closely associated with that mineralized skin. They found what's called a collolyte. That's the scientific term for fossilized gut contents. And this was the first direct evidence ever for any sauropod. Stephen Poropod, he was part of the team. He was apparently just amazed, said Judy's belly was chock full of vegetation. They knew right then they had a world first on their hands.
It's a complete game changer. I read that John Long, another paleontologist, he used this fantastic analogy. He said, if we only had skulls of panda bears, we would assume they ate what other bears ate, not just bamboo. And this discovery, it feels exactly like that. It's changing these long-held assumptions because we finally have proof, actual, undeniable proof.
So the big question,
yeah,
what was on Judy's menu? Well, her gut contained pretty much a buffet of prehistoric plants, as the researchers called it. They identified conifer pinnules, things like Araucaria and Ostracosequoia wintonensis, plus leaves from flowering plants, angiosperms, and even seed fern fruiting bodies, a real mix.
Wow. And it wasn't just looking at bits of fossilized plant, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool enough on its own. How did they scientifically verify these were the actual plant types?
Good question. They also found chemical biomarkers within the collolyte itself. And these biomarkers were consistent with gymnosperms, the conifers, and angiosperms, the flowering plants. So that added this crucial layer of scientific certainty to their visual identifications. It really locked it down.
Okay, so this varied menu, what does it tell us about how sauropods actually ate? Was this mix surprising?
Well, this direct evidence is crucial because it points strongly towards generalist feeding. Judy, and likely other sauropods like her, were basically indiscriminate bulk feeders. They were essentially just munching through a wide variety of whatever vegetation was available in their environment. This kind of challenges any lingering ideas that these huge animals needed, super specialized diets. They weren't picky eaters at all, just hoovering stuff up.
And that variety of plants, conifers, flowering plants, ferns, that suggests they weren't just eating at ground level either, does it?
Exactly right. The diverse plant types strongly suggest they were capable of both low-level browsing and high-level browsing. They could feed at a whole range of heights. That flexibility would have given them incredible adaptability, letting them exploit different food sources in different environments.
Okay, but here's the part that really blew my mind about Judy's gut contents. It's what was missing. You mentioned minimal tooth damage earlier. What does that actually mean for how they ate?
It's really remarkable, isn't it? The ancient plant bits in Judy's gut just hadn't sustained much tooth damage at all. It means there was minimal oral processing, very little happening in the mouth. Like Stephen Porpat put it, just simple snip and swallow. Apparently, no mastication happening in the mouth at all. They just gulp down huge amounts of vegetation.
No chewing. For an animal potentially weighing tens of tons, how on earth did they digest all that raw plant stuff? It seems impossible.
Well, impossible for us, maybe. But with these vast amounts of unchewed vegetation, sauropods clearly relied on fermentation. Massive fermentation chambers within their huge guts to break everything down. It's actually quite similar to how modern-day large herbivores like elephants and rhinos digest their food. Their enormous guts acted like giant fermenting vats, slowly extracting nutrients from tough plant fibers.
Okay, so huge guts, lots of fermentation. If they're processing food like elephants and rhinos, what's the, let's say, surprising, maybe slightly funny side effect of that for the Cretaceous atmosphere?
Huh. Well, yes. Just like their modern counterparts, all that fermentation would have produced and released large amounts of methane gas. It sounds a bit funny, but it's a serious point. It means these ancient sauropods were likely significant contributors to the greenhouse gas balance of their time. Millions of years of sauropod emissions.
Wow. Okay, let's connect this back to the bigger picture then. What's the overall significance of finding Judy's last meal? What does it really change?
Fundamentally, this unprecedented glimpse confirms, yes, they were herbivores, which we strongly suspected. But it adds these crucial direct details about how they ate. It shows this generalist, bulk-feeding strategy and this minimal oral processing. It's no longer just an assumption based on teeth and bones. It's an observed biological fact, preserved for 100 million years. It shifts our understanding from theory to concrete evidence.
And how might this specific insight, the fact they were generalist, adaptable feeders, how might that have helped the whole Sauropoda group be so successful for so long, through the Jurassic and the Cretaceous?
That's a key point. Their incredible longevity and diversity were very likely underpinned by having many generalist feeders like Dimantinosaurus around. Their ability to adapt, to eat different things, to feed at different heights, it meant they could thrive in lots of different environments, survive climate shifts, changes in what plants were available. It was almost certainly a cornerstone of their ecological dominance for ages.
It really underlines the power of finding direct evidence, doesn't it, rather than just inferring.
Absolutely. This one discovery moves us from that theoretical inference to actual concrete evidence. It paints a much, much clearer picture of how these absolutely gigantic creatures actually thrive day to day. And it reinforces a basic principle, really. Knowledge is most valuable when it's based on solid evidence. And sometimes, like here, even one remarkably preserved fossil can genuinely reshape our understanding of an entire ancient world.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now and for how we think about the prehistoric past?
Well, the discovery of Judy's Last Supper, it's way more than just a cool fossil find. It's like opening a direct window into the daily lives of the largest land animals that ever walked the earth. It reveals these surprisingly indiscriminate eating habits and this really unique no-chew digestion. It's a complete snapshot of a 100-million-year-old meal. Incredible.
And it definitely raises a really important question, doesn't it? If just one fossilized gut can overturn decades of assumptions, decades of inference, and give us this kind of granular detail, what other knowns about ancient life might just be waiting for their own piece of direct evidence to surface?
Yeah, think about that. How much more can we truly learn about the prehistoric world when we find direct, undisturbed evidence like Judy's last meal? It's definitely a fascinating thought to mull over until our next deep dive.